Today we're going to compare two walking aids, the Rollator and the Triwalker. They're common walking aids, and we get a lot of people in the shop asking about them. They're often confused about which one to go for, so hopefully I'm going to cover that today. As a bit of background, both Triwalkers and Rollators are walking aids. They're designed to help you walk, and it's part of the journey that someone would go through when they need some assistance with walking. First would be a walking stick, then they'd move on to a Triwalker typically, then onto a Rollator, and at some point, if necessary, a walking frame, one of the ones that used to be called a Zimmer frame. As the name suggests, a Triwalker has 3 wheels, but a Rollator has 4 wheels. Now, there used to be a few more differences in terms of Triwalkers would be foldable and Rollators wouldn't, but they're kind of all foldable now. However, the Triwalkers are a bit smaller and a bit more maneuverable. So, here we have one of your typical Triwalkers and an example of a Rollator. You can see some differences. Firstly, the number of wheels, secondly, the size of the wheels, and pretty much the size of the whole unit. The frames are slightly different shape too. Now, let's go through the Triwalkers first of all. They're small, they're lightweight, and they're super maneuverable. They fold up very easily, and as they open, they lock in. Pretty much all of them have adjustable heights of the handles. The majority have solid tyres as well, very few with pneumatic tyres, and they usually contain a bag here. That said, you can get some which contain a seat instead, but again, very similar. Now, if we move to the Rollator, we can see it's much bigger straight away. Same sort of features though. So we've got the adjustable handles which click up and down on this particular model, but don't worry too much about the specific models. They pretty much all have a seat now, and they're all going to fold up in some way. They're not all going to have such big wheels, but typically they're going to have bigger wheels than the Triwalkers. And what we are going to notice in a minute is that they are much more stable than the Triwalker. So, very quickly, let's see them in action. The Triwalker, really small, nice and manoeuvrable, and it gives a fair bit of support. Because of the small wheels, they're not great on bumpy ground, so they're okay on smooth pavements, shopping centres, but really in the home is where they exceed. You've got to be a bit careful. If you were to topple over at an angle, then there's not much support that way, but generally they're pretty stable. However, the big Rollator, much more stable. It's not going to move at all. Should you have a trip or a fall, it's going to take all your weight. Interestingly, the Triwalkers, most of them are rated to 21 stone, so that's pretty heavy, but it's a lot of weight for a small 3-wheeled bit of equipment to hold. So I do think people that are slightly taller or bigger might be worth considering the Rollator, even in the house. Okay, so why would you go for one over the other? Well, if you don't need much support, Triwalkers are great. If you want to use it in the home, you don't want space, Triwalkers are great. However, if you need a bit more support, or you're using it outdoors, specifically if you want to go over a bit rougher terrain, maybe around a park or something, the bigger wheels on a Rollator are going to be much better. Then there's the advantage of the seat too. So you're out and you get tired, you can lock the brakes on and take a seat. Interestingly, pretty much all of the Triwalkers also have lockable brakes as well, should you need them. Although some of them have a seat, like this Triwalker we looked at earlier, it's not the most comfy because of the shape of it. You can't really get your back comfortable on it. Again, not too bad for a smaller person, but as soon as you get a bit bigger, there's not much space. The other thing to consider is when they've got a seat on a Triwalker, you lose the storage. So your normal Triwalker has a shopping bag. These just have a very, very small pouch on the side. One other thing just to mention is that with the Triwalkers, there's really only one type. More recently, they started bringing out the same one that replaces the bag with a seat, but still it's one Triwalker. Now, with the Rollators, we stock about 7 or 8 different models. and there are way more out there. This is an elephant rollator, perfect for off-road with the great big pneumatic tyres. There are lots of different options, and I'll do another video going through them all and helping you decide between a rollator. But for now, we're just going to focus on the rollator versus the Triwalker. However, if you were to go down the rollator route, there's lots of options in terms of carbon fibre for a little bit lighter. Ones that fold down together and then down again to make it easier to put into the boot. We've got additional things we can put on them, like padded seats if you're out and you wanted to sit down for a longer period of time, trays for moving drinks, food around within the home. So they're a bit more versatile and probably can be used for a bit longer in terms of how long you're going to need a walking aid. Okay, so on to price. Triwalkers are, as you can imagine, a lot cheaper. They're around the £100 mark for your Triwalker. All the different colours and shapes and sizes, they're pretty much the same. The Rollators, on the other hand, they jump up in price. The kind of modern style ones like this start about £250 and they go all the way up to about £600. That would be for a slightly more expensive model with pneumatic tyres and a carbon fibre frame and things like drag brakes to stop it running away with you when you're going down a hill. So all these little features can make the experience just a bit nicer. Okay, so in conclusion, why would you choose one over the other? Really, it comes down to your needs. If you don't need much assistance, we're going to go with the Triwalker. You need a bit more assistance with walking, the Rollator. Likewise, if you're going to be out and about, probably the Rollator makes sense. If it's mainly in the house, then again, the Triwalker, maybe. What the best advice I can give is pop in either to us or another retailer. The best advice I can give is either pop into us or another retailer and try them out for yourself. That's the only way you're going to know. And hopefully you'll be able to take them down the road into a coffee shop and just see how they really perform. So, did this comparison help you make a decision? If it did, let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know what other information you'd like on this channel.